So, this is Donna from Love Consciousness, and I wanted to create this little reflection today to talk about the idea of time travel. Now, you may be aware of this, or this may be the first time you have come across this idea. But I've just put a post up on Facebook, and it made me reflect on a very important moment in my life. Where I had the realization that I had the ability to travel through time. Now it is this concept, when you really get into it deeply, excuse the French, can be a little bit of a head fuck. And it certainly was for me, and still is in some ways, because it opens up many, many questions about time. What time is, what time isn't, what's possible and what's not possible. And so let me just first of all tell you a little bit about the story that was the significant moment in my life. Now, I've shared, many times, and I'm very open about the fact that I really suffered with, different levels of depression for 20 years of my life that started really, as far as I'm aware, in my teenage years. And although it was probably much deeper than that, but really it hit me hard in my teenage years, and I didn't fully move through the what I thought as depression until around 12 years ago. So, I was in my early 30s, and I was at the lowest point. I just didn't want to be here. I was suicidal. I was really, really, really in a state of complete hopelessness. Lots of events had unfolded at that point in time. A really bad breakup, all kinds of stuff that just made me lose all hope. And of course, the feeling that I had been living with for so long was so intensified during this period. I didn't really know what to do, and I didn't feel like I had the strength to go on. So this particular day, where I was at my lowest point, I was lay in bed, and I was so desperately crying out for help. I'd already been to the doctors and all of this stuff, and nothing was making any difference. And in this dark moment, I prayed. I prayed to God, and I begged and pleaded for help. Please, 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 please help me. And in this moment, something happened, and an energy, a very strong energy, moved through me. And with the energy came a message, and the message was, get up, you have the strength, get out of bed. Don't stop until you find a way of overcoming this depression. There is a way, and you will get through it. And in that moment, this message and the energy that ran through me gave me enough strength. On that day, I got out of bed, and I immediately began to search all these different modalities and how they approached the treatment of depression. Okay. Now, weirdly enough, the one thing that I found that ended up being the thing that cured me of my depression is the same thing, okay, and I hope that I get this right, is the same thing that delivered the message to me to get out of bed. Now, this is where it gets really interesting. So what I discovered later on was that the message that I had received in my deepest, darkest moment was me. Okay, it was me, a future version of me, giving me the message to get up out of bed. Okay, so let me explain a little bit further. The technique that I found that removed the depression from me is a technique that I now call re-imprinting. Basically, it is a process where you find a quiet spot, you close your eyes and you meditate, and you follow the feeling in your physical body back to the original memory of when it was created. Now, this took a few tries, but I obviously got lucky and I found the memory. I moved through moved into the feeling in my physical being, and I asked repeatedly over and over again for my subconscious mind to bring me the memory, to bring up to my conscious awareness the memory when I first created this feeling that I was tuning into. And when you connect to the memory, you then interact with a younger version of yourself and you change the energy. And in changing the energy, you transmute the density that is the emotion that you are feeling in your physical being. And so this is what helped me move through my depression. It was gone. It was gone in an instant from doing this process. So then what unfolded was many, many years later, so only a couple of years ago from where I'm standing right now, I was speaking to a friend of mine, and I was talking about how I never had any mentors and I never had any guides, and all I ever used to long for was just some guidance, someone to show me the way. And all of this emotion came up because I started talking about this moment of lying in bed, this moment of being at my lowest point. And I ended up taking myself off just to be on my own for a few minutes because I was in a public place. And the emotion that was coming up was quite strong and I could feel tears coming. And so I found a quiet spot and I closed my eyes. I went inside and I went back in time to the moment of when I was in bed. And I gave her a really strong message. I gave her a message that she was going to get through this, to get up out of bed, to not give up. There was a way, to find a way. And in the moment of running through this process and giving this younger version of myself that was at the lowest point this message, I suddenly realised that it was me giving me the message in the same way that that version of me had visited a younger version of me and interacted with her as a way of transmuting the energy that I called depression. So I hope you can see where I'm going with this. So we are time traveling in essence. There only actually ever is this now moment. And so every single version of us, if you like, is also in this now moment. They are really just other aspects of us. And we have the ability to not only connect to future versions of ourselves, which we might call our higher self or highest. I always say highest self because I want to connect to the most future, most evolved version of myself, to ask for guidance in this now moment because they've already been there and done it. And we also have this ability to travel back in time and interact with the memories that we hold within us in connection to the younger aspects of ourselves. And because it's all just really a game of energy, and this is really important, because it's a game of energy, each and every time we interact, we do change something. We change the energy, we change the signature, we change the frequency, we transmute certain energetic patterns. And so in this now moment, wherever you are placed right now, by interacting with past versions of yourself, you're always shifting something. Now that something may be very subtle and it may go unnoticed, or it may be something very profound, such as an anxiety or a depression or a trauma that you've been carrying around for a long, long time. So in essence, the way that I see it is that we have an ability to travel through time consciously. And there are so many things that you can do once you begin to really grasp this concept, this idea, to really influence where you are standing right now, and to influence your ability to manage certain aspects of your life, to let go of certain limiting beliefs or structures that you have created on your journey up to this moment in time. So I think that I'm going to leave it at that just for a moment and just allow you to just think about that concept, because I think it's pretty cool. Might just add that I have now done this more than once. There have been many of these moments where I have travelled back in time, if you like, in my mind to a younger version of me, and then had the realisation that the younger version of me at that point in time was aware of something moving through her, a message coming to her, something being given to her. And really, the way that I see it is, when we do that, it changes all of the patterns from that moment to this moment. So we can literally up level our timelines, if you like, whatever timeline you were on. Each time you do this process, you can create different things that allow you to move into higher aspects of yourself, higher timelines. So yeah, so I'd love to know what you think about this idea, if you have any insight on this or other aspects of what can be done within consciously traveling through time. So yes, wherever you are, whatever you're doing, have a beautiful day, and I will catch you soon. Lots and lots of love.